Hello. We are live now, and of course, we are in London. और मेरे चैनल में आप सभी का स्वागत है। सौरभ, ये मेरा चैनल है, आप भी आ सकते हो इसमें। तो आज हम है भी टीम होटल के बाहर है, और आज पूरे दिन क्या हुआ, मैं लॉर्ड्स में था, मैं गया नहीं बेकिंगहम, जहां पर जो मैच हो रहा था इंडिया का, वहां पर आई वॉज नॉट देयर। आई वॉज एट द लॉर्ड्स कवरिंग द WTC फाइनल। लेकिन खबरें तो मिल रही थी, खबरें मिल रही थी वहां पर। और एक तो है, मैं लंदन में, आई हैव टू बी वेरी केयरफुल, क्योंकि ये जो अभी लंदन है ना, अभी फोन स्नैचिंग का हब बन चुका है। तो आई एम जस्ट लुकिंग एट बिहाइंड, और सामने कि कोई भाई फोन ना यहाँ से लेके चले जाए, बट गुड। सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, इंडिया का आज प्रैक्टिस इंडोर जो प्रैक्टिस मैच हुआ, उसमें आपको पता ही है। अंकन, थोड़ा अपडेट दे दो भाई आपको हमारे। शार्दुल का अच्छा दिन रहा, फिर शुभमन गिल का, कप्तान शुभमन गिल के लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट सीरीज है, उनका आज अच्छा दिन रहा। बट WTC फाइनल में भी आज व्हाट एन इनिंग्स, माकरम और टेम्बा बहुमा, डोंट अंडर एस्टिमेट हिम। टेम्बा बहुमा को जो है बहुत अंडर एस्टिमेट किया जाता है। आई रेट पर्सनली, मुझे लगता है कि उन्होंने इस WTC साइकिल में उनका परफॉर्मेंस बहुत अच्छा रहा है। और साउथ अफ्रीका इज ऑन द वर्ज ऑफ विनिंग ए मेजर ICC टूर्नामेंट, दैट टू ए WTC फाइनल। बट लेट्स जी, केएल राहुल ने उधर जो इंडिया का मैच में केएल राहुल ने भी स्कोर बनाया, ये भी इंडिया के लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। जी, एज ए कप्तान तेम्बा बहुमा का एवरेज बहुत अच्छा है। इंडियन टीम बाय द वे अभी पहुंच चुकी है, होटल अपने वापस आ चुकी है। अगर वो विजुअल्स आपको देखने हैं तो यू हैव टू गो टू रेस स्पोर्ट्स क्रिकेट, जहां पर वो लाइव चल रहा है अभी विजुअल, वहां पर देख सकते हो। ऋषभ पंत ने, देखिए ये इंडोर मैच था, मैं आपको पहले बता दूं, ये क्लोज डोर गेम था, तो इसका ना कोई स्कोर कार्ड बाहर दे गया है, और ना कोई जर्नलिस्ट को अलाउ किया गया है अंदर जाने के लिए। तो जो हमें अपडेट्स मिल रहे हैं वही आपको बता रहा हूँ। ऋषभ पंत एग्जैक्टली कितना रन बताया, मेरे पास अपडेट नहीं है। और बाकी लंदन का वेदर तो आप देख ही सकते हो। सुबह से आज गर्मी थी, लेकिन शाम के वक्त जो है थोड़ा सा अभी वेदर कूल डाउन हुआ है। टू वेयर दिस जैकेट। और एक्चुअली देखिए, मेरा जल्दी आने का रीजन ये था, मुझे WTC फाइनल कवर करना था, तो आई गॉट डिलेड फॉर फ्यू डेज, क्योंकि मैं पहले दिन से कवर नहीं कर पाया। लेकिन आज जो है, मुझे पता था कि उधर बेकिंगहम में जो है इंडियन टीम के प्रैक्टिस गेम में, क्योंकि सिंस इट इज ए क्लोज डोर गेम, यहाँ पर मीडिया को अलाउ नहीं किया जाएगा। तो आई स्टेड बैक इन लॉर्ड्स, और लॉर्ड्स में क्या मैच हो रहा है, व्हाट एन एक्साइटिंग गेम। जिस तरीके से उतार चढ़ाव हमें देखने को मिला, पहले दिन साउथ अफ्रीका का बॉलिंग, उसके बाद जिस तरीके से मिचेल स्टार्क और हेजलवुड ने पहले दिन का सत्र में बॉलिंग की, कल फिर से साउथ अफ्रीका ने कमबैक की, उसके बाद फिर से ऑस्ट्रेलिया का एक कमबैक, और आज ये जो पार्टनरशिप माकरम और टेम्बा बहुमा के बीच। लेट्स सी बहुत मतलब ये वर्ल्ड क्रिकेट के लिए अच्छा होगा अगर साउथ अफ्रीका ये WTC फाइनल जीतते हैं तो। आज देखिए, शार्दुल ठाकुर, बहुत लोग यहाँ शार्दुल के बारे में पूछ रहे हैं, तो मैं बता दूं कि शार्दुल का आज विकेट लेना, आई थिंक इट इज मोर और लेस नाउ, आई बिलीव इट सिक्योर्स हिज प्लेस इन द प्लेइंग 11। जो मुझे लग रहा है कि शार्दुल का विकेट लेना एटलीस्ट लीड्स के प्लेइंग 11 में उनका जगह आज सिक्योर कर देगा। और आज वेदर भी इतना बॉलिंग फ्रेंडली वेदर नहीं था, मतलब धूप था, तो आज जो है शार्दुल को विकेट मिला है, मतलब किस तरीके से मिला है वो मुझे पता नहीं एग्जैक्टली द मोड ऑफ डिसमिसल, लेकिन विकेट लेना ऐसे कंडीशन में मुझे लग रहा है कि इट वाज अ गुड कॉल। और हम अभी रेस पोस्ट क्रिकेट में भी लाइव आएंगे, अंकन भी होगा, अभिषेक जी भी होंगे, साइमल्टेनियस लाइव करेंगे, तो दोनों चैनल में जो है आप लाइव देख सकते हो। आप रेस, हमारे हमारे यहाँ पर सौरभ जी कह रहे हैं कि आप दर्शकों को बोलिए कि रेस स्पोर्ट्स में लाइव देखने के लिए, क्योंकि अभिषेक जी जो है एक्सक्लूसिवली वहां पर बैठेंगे। अच्छा, एक और अपडेट मैं आप लोगों को दे दूं। द अदर अपडेट व्हिच आई हैव गॉट फ्रॉम लॉर्ड्स इज दैट द ECB, इंग्लैंड एंड वेल्स क्रिकेट बोर्ड, they have shown willingness to host the next 3 WTC फाइनल। मैंने ट्वीट भी किया है इस बारे में। तो अगला जो 3 WTC फाइनल होगा, 2027, 2029, 2031, 3 WTC फाइनल जो है इंग्लैंड होस्ट करना चाहते हैं। हालांकि ICC की तरफ से कोई फाइनल कॉल नहीं दिया गया है। आईसीसी जो है, जो इसका फाइनल कॉल नेक्स्ट मंथ में आईसीसी का जो एजीएम होगा सिंगापुर में, वहां पर लिया जाएगा। लेकिन ये अपडेट हमें मिल रहा है कि ईसीबी ने ये जताया। और अगर ब्रिटिश मीडिया को बिलीव करें, इफ यू हैव टू बिलीव द चैटर इन द ब्रिटिश मीडिया, तो उन्होंने लिखा है, टेलीग्राफ ने एक स्टोरी किया है, टेलीग्राफ जो यूके टेलीग्राफ है, उन्होंने ये लिखा है, दे आर वेरी क्लोज टू गेट दैट डील। ये 3 मैच वाला जो डील है, ये दे आर वेरी क्लोज टू गेट दैट डील। So this is the latest update which I have got। और तो आई डोंट नो कितना ये फेयर है, सिर्फ WTC फाइनल सिर्फ एक ही देश में होस्ट करना, हाउ फेयर इट इज, आई डोंट नो। क्योंकि मुझे लग रहा है कि WTC फाइनल्स, आपका जो होल कॉन्सेप्ट है WTC का, वो कॉन्सेप्ट लाया गया था टेस्ट क्रिकेट को प्रमोट करने के लिए, टेस्ट क्रिकेट को दुनिया के जो जो टेस्ट रैंकिंग में जो नीचे के टीम्स भी हैं, उनको भी ज्यादा इंसेंटिव देने के लिए वर्ल्ड WTC का जो कॉन्सेप्ट। लेकिन आप सिर्फ जो है एक ही कंट्री में अगर WTC होस्ट करोगे, तो आई डोंट थिंक दैट इज द राइट कॉल। ऑलरेडी ईसीबी इज होस्टिंग देयर थर्ड WTC फाइनल। आपको याद है कि 2021 में हमने पहला जो WTC फाइनल इंडिया और न्यूजीलैंड के बीच हुआ था, वो बायो बबल में साउथहैम्पटन में हुआ था, 2023 में ओवल में हुआ था, और 2025 में जो है अब लॉर्ड्स में हो रहा है। और अगला 3 भी अगर इंग्लैंड में होता है, तो आई डोंट नो, आई थिंक इट्स नॉट द फेयर कॉल, इट विल नॉट बी अ फेयर डिसीजन। बट लेट्स होप कि आईसीसी जो है इस बारे में फाइनल कॉल जो लेंगे, मैं आशा करता हूं कि आईसीसी विल लुक ऑल द एंगल्स हियर। क्योंकि हमें जितना पता चला है कि बीसीसीआई इज आल्सो विलिंग टू होस्ट वन WTC फाइनल। तो बीसीसीआई को अगर एक मिल जाएगा तो वो भी अच्छा होगा, क्योंकि ऑब्वियसली हमारे पास वर्ल्ड के बेस्ट फैसिलिटीज हैं टेस्ट क्रिकेट के लिए, हमारे पास ऑडियंस है, और ऑब्वियसली इंडिया अगर पहुंचता है तो वो वहां पर तो टेस्ट उस मैच का बहुत क्रेज भी होगा। भाई ऋषभ पंत का स्कोर अंडर 20 अबव 20, क्योंकि स्कोर यहाँ पर बीसीसीआई से हमारे पास कुछ रिलीज नहीं आया है। और जो जर्नलिस्ट हैं यहाँ पर, जो दे आर ऑलरेडी द जर्नलिस्ट हु आर ऑलरेडी हियर इन लंदन, जैसे मैं हूँ, अंकन है, अभी रोहित भी हैं और विमल जी भी हैं, किसी के पास कोई अपडेट नहीं है, क्योंकि ये मैच क्लोज डोर मैच है। क्लोज डोर मैच का मतलब ही होता है कि आप जो है सारा जो स्कोर कार्ड है, सारा जो डेटा है, वो पब्लिश नहीं करेंगे। जो भी डेटा हमें उनके सोशल मीडिया से मिला है, वही हमें देखने को मिल रहा है, वही मैं आपके लिए बता रहा हूँ। और बाकी जो अपडेट्स मुझे लॉर्ड से मिले हैं रिगार्डिंग WTC फाइनल, रिगार्डिंग द अपकमिंग, रिगार्डिंग द ऑनगोइंग गेम, वो मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ। अर्शदीप सिंह को खेलना चाहिए एज थर्ड पेसर, क्योंकि वहां स्विंग, वेल, फेयर कॉल, क्योंकि आप जो है हेडिंगली में खेलेंगे। हेडिंगली इज नोन टू बी ए venue where the swing bowlers do well. If you will remember the last test match at the Ashes in Headingley, वहाँ पर क्रिस वोक्स को बहुत मदद मिली थी विकेट से। So yeah, Headingley is a good venue for I think for swing bowlers. But looking at the current form, I would obviously prefer वहाँ पर जसप्रीत बुमराह, मोहम्मद सिराज और प्रसिद्ध कृष्णा। मेरे हिसाब से ये 3 खेलना चाहिए। लेकिन हाँ, 4 पेसर खिलाएंगे नहीं। देखिए, आप अपने बैटिंग को भी ज्यादा वीक नहीं कर सकते हो। आयुष जिंदल ने एक बहुत अच्छा क्वेश्चन पूछा है यहाँ पर। आयुष जिंदल ने ये क्वेश्चन पूछा है कि WTC फाइनल के लिए अगर 2 न्यूट्रल टीमें खेलते हैं, क्या हमें वो एटमोस्फियर मिलेगा जो हमें अभी देखने को मिल रहा है? मुझे लग रहा है कि अगर आप जो है वो मैच, वेन्यू के ऊपर डिपेंड करेगा, डेफिनेटली वेन्यू के ऊपर डिपेंड करेगा। और वेन्यू अगर अच्छा होता है, अच्छा इन द सेंस, ऑब्वियसली हरे सर सब वेन्यू अच्छे हैं, लेकिन ऐसा वेन्यू होना चाहिए जो ग्राउंड थोड़ा सा, मैं कहूँगा कि टेस्ट क्रिकेट में जहाँ पर अमूमन दर्शक आते हैं। सो आई आई नेवर नो, मतलब मैं चाहता हूँ कि सिर्फ एक कंट्री में ना हो। आप उसको वेस्ट इंडीज में होस्ट कीजिए, आप इंडिया में होस्ट कीजिए, आप श्रीलंका में होस्ट कीजिए। देखिए, जून जुलाई का जो विंडो है, कि क्योंकि उसी टाइम पे ही WTC फाइनल होना है। अभी जो WTC का साइकिल है, उसी हिसाब से बनाया जाता है कि जून जुलाई के, जून टू बी स्पेसिफिक, जून और या लेट मई में WTC का फाइनल हो। तो फिर वहां पर आप वैसे उस टाइम पे ज्यादा कंट्री पे खेल नहीं सकते हो टेस्ट क्रिकेट। और कोई क्वेश्चंस हैं 2029 तक तो टू टायर हो जाएगा या नहीं? अभी तो टू टायर मुझे नहीं लग रहा है कि अभी तो टू टायर ऐसा नहीं होगा, बट अल्टीमेटली देखिए इट इज हेडिंग टुवर्ड्स दैट। टेस्ट क्रिकेट के लिए अगर एक मतलब जो नीचे के टीम्स है ना, आप देखिए उनका परफॉर्मेंस। आप when was the last time PL please come. So I will introduce you to one of my very good friends here in the UK, Pial. Pial, hi, please come. Hi, Pial, how are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
So I'm good. So Pial is a good friend of mine. Obviously, मैं जब भी यूके आता हूँ मैं पियाल के साथ रुकता हूँ, कभी कभी हम लोग साथ में मैच है. He is a very big cricket enthusiast. Pial, first of all, how was your experience of watching, South Africa getting close to that milestone?
Special. I was with the South African fans,
Yeah.
and they were making a great atmosphere. I
Yeah.
thought, it felt like it was their time.
Yeah.
And that afternoon session, the evening session especially, they were enjoying it, especially when Markram scored that century. I thought that was special.
How big it will be for South Africa if they go on to win this?
I think it'd be huge because they've not won an ICC event in 1998, I think,
Yeah.
right? So, and if you listen to what they were saying about Bavuma,
Yeah.
Bavuma is like a cult hero there.
Absolutely.
He is. He's the person that
And
everyone
I think on this particular WTC cycle, as a captain, Bahuma has done fantastic.
He's got 3 centuries.
I think he averages around 58. Someone was saying
70 actually in the last 9 Test matches.
Oh, okay.
So 3 centuries included in that, and he's about to hit a not out tonight, which is put them on the brink of victory. I think it helped Markram as well having the captain there. So I thought that was brilliant.
Of course, Pial is wearing the India shirt because he supports the Indian team, of course. Pial, big series coming up, huge summer for this for India. The new look Indian team. It's the start of a new era in Indian cricket. What is your expectation? Of course, you are from the UK. You are a British citizen, but of course, you support India. So, what is your expectation from this new look Indian team?
Actually, very excited. We don't know what's going to happen with the batting. You've got Shunman Gill, you've got Shai Chudan, who's going to be very, very good.
Yeah.
We've seen very, very good things about him. But, it's an inexperience in the top order, I think. The middle order especially is going to be the tricky bit for the Indian team. If they can somehow get the runs, they have the bowling attack. Bumrah, Siraj, they'll probably play one of the spinners.
Jadeja, hopefully, in the first test.
And I think that's going to make a huge difference. If the middle order is going to be the key battle. If India can get the runs, they have the bowling to get it.
Absolutely, that's what I was saying. If India can find a way to get to close to 280, 300, they have the bowling to get those 20 wickets.
Exactly. And if you look what today is, it's been very, very warm. And they're predicting a very warm summer. So actually that could play into India's hand.
Oh, that's an important thing. So what is the prediction over here?
So it's supposed to be very, very hot. It's supposed to be during the summer.
Even up north also?
Yes.
Because India will be playing 2 test matches up north.
Yes, and I'm going to the Manchester test.
So like if the weather, it is very hard to predict weather in the UK, but if the weather remains a bit warmer, then it will be definitely in favor of the Indian team.
Yes, that's why I think the spinners then come into it. You might see in the future, maybe when it gets to the 4th or 5th test, you might see 2 spinners come into the if it's hot. And then you see the pitches like cracking up, and then you can imagine Bumrah with his bowling spell, Siraj.
But Bumrah is not going to play all 5 test matches.
But it's the efficiency that he can give to you. Yeah, a couple of tests he won't be there, but 3 tests he'll be still. You'd rather have 3 tests of Bumrah than just 5 tests which you can't get the best out of it.
Absolutely. But again, looking at the England team, I know that after India, England is your second favorite team. What do you think their approach will be? Because if you ask me, I think the coaches of both the teams have the same kind of mentality. If you look at Brendan McCullum as a coach, if you look at Gautam Gambhir as a coach, both believe that they don't believe in specialists. They like to have deep batting lineups. They like bits and pieces cricketer more than specialists. So, what is your expectation? How England will operate? Will they play in that modified version of the ball?
I was just about to say that. I think it's going to be a 2.0 version.
Yeah.
2.0 version of Buzz, I think is going to be. I think it's going to be a little bit more.
What different it will be from what the cricket they played in the 2023
looked at on the Ashes, because they lost an opportunity, because if you were here for that, the first two tests they got the balance wrong, and then they got the balance
Chris
correct.
Oakes was made
Chris
the difference.
Oakes would, so what they need to do is try to play smarter cricket, and I think England have this refined version of it. They're allowing Joe Root to play his normal way, not to have because he can score centuries without having to do baseball.
Absolutely.
Jamie Smith you see he's trying to change his way of batting. He is. You see,
I can see British media is rating Jamie Smith quite highly.
Yes, they are, and I think he's someone that's taken out Ben Folkes. So he plays the baseball way, but he has that smartness as well to play. That's what I think the refined version of baseball is going to be like.
What will be the bowling attack? Probably a probable bowling attack for England in Leeds.
Yeah, I think Chris Woakes will be leading that attack again. Without Jimmy Anderson, they need that experience they will need. I think Joshua Tongue might be the surprise, the fast bowler.
Absolutely.
He played in the India A series, I think
he did.
And India played for him very well, but I think England like him a lot. They like that enforcer type ball. They are. And then they're going to use the spinners, the spinners that...
But Jack Leach is not there in...
and I think, they like Bashir a lot.
Oh,
they like Bashir a lot. And this is the good question. What do you get? Bethel. I think they should play him, because he's like that X Factor character. You've seen him in IPL. He's RCB, really liked him as well. And the ODIs and T20 series leading up to this India series, he's been really, really good. He has. And he has that. But I think they will start with Ollie Pope, which I think is a weakness week.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think if Ollie Pope plays, I think the opportunity for India, to get that free wicket at the start of the test. Zach Crawley's under pressure. That's where England's weakness is. That middle order looks very, very strong with Joe Root at number 4. You've got James Smith at number 6. You've got Ben Stokes there, and Harry Brook, obviously, which is a very exciting middle order.
Yeah.
But that top 3 is very, apart from Duckett, is the one which is a bit of a shaky grounds for England.
So under these circumstances, do you see that playing the buzzball way probably is the ideal way to go forward in this? Because, you cannot play like Dom Sibley, right?
No.
Especially with this Indian bowling lineup.
Yes.
Even considering the bowling lineups of both the teams, you cannot be a Dom Sibley.
Think about it like this. So what the approach of baseball is that they want to bring the attack back to the bowlers, right?
Yeah.
So they don't want to fear like a Bumrah.
Yeah.
But they have to play smarter with a Bumrah. So they can't attack every ball that comes their way. But they have to be, if they can put it back on the pressure on Bumrah, that's what they're going to do. They do the same with Siraj. And we know that Siraj sometimes can be up and down. And, that could be a changing moment of the test match. So that's where England's strengths are going to be. The weakness, as I say, is that top 3. It's an untested one. You've got Zach Crawley, who's looking for runs all the time. I know Ollie Pope and Crawley scored, big runs against Zimbabwe, but Zimbabwe and India are very different.
One more update. I don't know whether you have got it or not. So the ECB is willing to host the next 3 WTC finals.
Oh, wow.
So how do you look at it?
This is a tricky one, because I've just been to the WTC final. I went to the last one as well, and I thought the atmosphere was amazing. But just having it in one country might be seen as a little bit unfair.
Absolutely.
But I will say this: the atmosphere I just went to see a neutral match, all 3 days having 90%, 95% full crowds. I think that should not be underestimated. The one test philosophy, I think, works really well. I know some people say it should be best of 3 tests, but you don't.
But we don't have that window, right?
But But even if you did have that window, who does that in any other final, any other sport?
Absolutely.
We have enough things to make the sport very complicated. We have the 100 now, T20 one day. You've got to think about the consumer and those people who come here. And I thought one other thing, I thought the pricing of the ICC was so much better. To watch an England-India match could cost double or triple what I paid for this test match, which I thought was really clever.
One more interesting thing which we should discuss, it is like the WTC final is starting at 10:30 local time.
Yes.
Which is an early start.
Yes.
Do you consider it?
Yes, I do. Yes.
So do you see the ball move around as much as we have seen in the first 2?
I think it really depends on conditions. think conditions, like when it gets to the second half, obviously when the ball gets older, it's much easier to bat. We even saw that today as well. Even today, when got to 30, 40 overs, Australia were batting really easily, and South Africa were batting quite simply, after the new ball had gone. So I think it really depends on conditions. If it becomes overcast like it is right now, then the ball swings. We know that. We don't know the science why that happens, but I think conditions matter more than what time it starts.
So look at like the Indian audience, which right now is watching us. Some of them who haven't seen Test cricket in England. Can you please explain them how the condition matters over here than any other part of the world in Test cricket?
I think there's two things we've got to discuss here. There's Duke's ball, which I think makes a big difference. If you see the way that the ball swings, the lateral movement, and that kind of thing. And then secondly, when the conditions, let's say, gets overcast, this actually then starts making the ball talk. So it doesn't actually matter if it's 20 overs old or 5 overs old or 50 overs old. Then the ball starts moving around and you can get reverse swing if it's later in the day. If it's early in the day, you get the natural swing and the lacquer of the ball moves around. So that makes a big difference,
Absolutely. Also, I think in the first 10 overs or so, maybe 8 overs, the ball doesn't swing much. But as soon as the lacquer started to come out, then it is it starts to swing a lot. So that's why in England, top 3 becomes a very, very, very important position. And looking at India's top 3, you have KL Rahul, you have Yashasvi Jaiswal, who is yet to play a test match in England. KL Rahul, of course, he has played and he had a good series in 2021. You have you'll have Sai Sudarshan, an inexperienced guy, at number 3.
And I think that you make a really good point that KL Rahul is such importance to that top 3.
Today also in the warm-up game, in the practice game, KL Rahul has scored runs.
And he did in the India A game, I think, as well, right?
Yeah.
The century in the second unofficial test. So I think KL Rahul, I was really interested because he did a Sky Sports interview and he was saying like how he visualizes, the opponents, he watches county matches, and so you can tell that what his experience is going to be, like what Rohit and Rahul did last time. Rahul's going to have to do again for India to be successful. Otherwise, they're going to be 2 down. Like England could be 2 down very quickly. Especially with the skillful bowlers like Chris Woakes in English conditions.
Absolutely. So Pial is not just an ordinary fan. Let me tell you that. Sometimes I also learn new things about the game from Pial because he's a keen observer of the game. We used to host a podcast also together, Hit and Miss. I think ran 14 episodes or something like that. Yeah, we had one season, and some of the prominent cricketers we brought on including Ram Naresh Sharman, including the I think who all came.
We had VP Singh.
VP, from Guyana.
Yes.
And then we had Monty Panesar, of course. We also had opportunity to talk about the owner of the Duke's Ball, who the company which owns the Duke's Ball. So he talked about all the differences that Duke's Balls made in Test cricket in this part of the world. Pial, how do you rate Shubman Gill? Because looking at his numbers outside Asia, it's not that great. But sometimes captaincy brings the best out of it, like what it did with Virat Kohli. The moment he became the captain, runs coming. You remember the 2018 series, right?
I do. I was there at the famous one of the famous victories at Lord's.
2018.
Sorry. I went to many other test matches. I went to 2, I think.
Yeah.
I did.
You went to Birmingham, I believe.
Yes, and Southampton as well.
Oh, yeah.
And so, no, I think Shubman Gill has a really big opportunity in this test series to change, because if you see that lots of the best players in the Indian team or any other team, when they become captain, let's say Joe Root, they really struggle, with the captaincy and being batting. So it's not always the case that you have to have the best batsman to be the captain.
Absolutely.
And Shubman Gill has done very well in IPL as captaincy, and I think that should be something that will help him. Lots of the young Indian players, this is one of the big advantages they have, is they get a lot of experience at a very young age. So
he's 24.
So imagine that in most other be the case, but he's had that much experience of the 19 Cup, and lots of Indian A tours, IPL. I think he'll be fine But I think what will be different is that he'll have to get used to the atmosphere.
Absolutely.
Because the atmosphere, whenever an India match is, India would be very, very partisan. Here would be much more split down the middle.
Absolutely. And leadership skills also matters.
Yes.
Absolutely matters. One more thing which I think not many people are discussing is probably wicket keeping aspect.
Yes.
Because it's not very easy to keep in English condition because of the late vowel. You see Alex Carey dropping few important catches in this test match, in this WTC final. Rishabh Pant, he has experience of keeping in this part of the world, but for him, like he had a very terrible IPL coming from the IPL. He both with the bat and with the keeping gloves he struggled, but again now he is the vice captain of this Indian team. So how do you see him and Rishabh Pant at number 5? What impact do you want from him?
I actually think he'd do okay.
He can be the counter. India can counter England in basketball through
with him.
With him.
Exactly, and I think he's one of the few players that actually form doesn't actually matter to him, because he just sees as a new test, new way he can get. If you're talking about the 2018 series, I think that was Pant's first series, right?
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, when he played that test opening match, he was at Moeen Ali got him after a 30-ball duck. But then by the end of that series, he was scoring a century.
He scored a century at the Oval.
Yes, he did. So if you look at that, I think Pant is that type of player that actually he'll be the one who, when the chips are down, he's going to be the one who's going to boost them back up.
Remember Sydney, right?
Yes.
Sydney was great. I mean, the innings he played in this first innings of I think he brought India back in the test match, but again,
yes,
I think Bumrah's absence made the difference in Sydney, I believe.
Yes, but I think Pant will play a big role, and I think he will do very, very well. I think even though he doesn't have the best form, I think it won't change him or the player he will be. He'll still play that same shot, and he'll hit it for boundary one day. One day he'll nick it, and it'll be, all the criticism will come. Everyone will have a say, but it won't change him, I don't think.
Who do you think will be the favourite going into the series?
This is a tough one. I think because of that inexperienced middle order, I would say just about England.
But England also, they don't have the services of they don't have the service of Markwood. We are not sure when Markwood will be back. They will not have Jofra Archer in the first test match. The English media, the British media is saying that Archer will be back probably from the second test match, but I don't know, man. So looking at this England bowling lineup, apart from Chris Oakes, you don't have much experience in the pace attack.
That is true, but I would say that they will be used to the English conditions. I think the English conditions, when it comes to Leeds or Manchester, these will be a little bit more alien to the Indian team
Absolutely.
than the English team. That's why I think they've chosen Leeds to be the opening test match.
Oh, that was my next question. So do you think that choosing Leeds as the venue for the first test match was a tactical call? Like in Australia wanted to play first test match at Perth?
Yes, but it could backfire as well, because as you say, in Australia it backfired. And also, if you remember a few years ago, England started the test series at Edgbaston, which was a fortress as well, and India and Kohli scored that 149 or 150.
They should have won that test match.
Yes.
I think Sam Curran made the difference with the ball.
Yes.
Yeah, India needed around 190 or something, 193 if I'm not wrong, in the fourth innings.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think the playing in these northern venues, it'll be a bit more partisan crowd towards the English team, which I think when you go to a place like in London, like where we are right now, Lords or Oval is a little bit more nuanced, that kind of support.
No, I'm just saying that from the conditions point of view, was it a tactical call from the ECB to start the series in Leeds? Because they generally don't do that. They generally start at the Midlands. They don't start at up north.
No, I agree, and I think that's something that's why I said there will be a bit more partisan crowd. It'll be a little bit less Indian fans will be there, and I think that will help the English players feel right at home. And if India are a little bit colder, if you remember the last tour.
Have you seen Monemortal? What's your analysis? He just passed by.
Oh, fantastic! So if you go to Lords,